This is Tom from Dirk Witte Music Store in Utrecht, the Netherlands, and today we are taking a look at an incredibly cool and a quite rare vintage 1970s Gibson guitar. One of the more odd shapes. Obviously this is not a Les Paul or an ES or an SG. This is indeed a Firebird, a non-reverse one from 1976. To be more specific, this is the Bicentennial Firebird from 1976. In the non-reverse body shape, so kind of like the original Firebird body shape. Includes the big old banjo tuners, neck through construction, and it is obviously then in a sunburst finish. And what is also pretty much a telltale sign that this is one of the Bicentennial ones is you have a little American patriotic eagle over here, or Firebird, with the red, white and blue and the stars, and it says 76 on its chest. Also has gold hardware, as we can tell. So this was released, or like the Bicentennial line, because there were more models than this one, was then released in order to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the United States of America. So therefore also the patriotic theme with the little Firebird. And yeah, incredibly cool guitar. Only released them in that very year, 1976. And yeah, it is a totally killer, very much traditional non-reverse Firebird. So yeah, let's dive into the specs. So history kind of goes back to 1962, I believe, for the Firebird, when this body style was released. And like I said, this is the non-reverse one, because in the mid-1960s they actually changed it up to the reverse body shape. So then the body would be a little bit flipped, but it would then be a different style of a construction. But this is the original one, and this is also pretty much like accurate to how they were built way back in the early days. Features a mahogany body and a mahogany neck, or a body slash neck, because this is indeed a true neck through construction. So if I hold it back a little bit so that you can see the whole thing, it's kind of a long instrument. From the bottom to the top of the headstock, that entire part in the middle, minus the wings, is like one long piece of mahogany wood. So that is what they mean by a neck through construction, so that the neck and the body are really like one piece. And then these wings over here, these offset wings, are then glued onto that part in the middle, which was very innovative way back in the day, in the early 1960s. I do believe that there were many brands that were actually doing that, especially not Gibson. That was the first time that they ever had done that. So that is incredibly cool. Does also arguably like give you a different tone, because you could probably imagine this whole piece of wood being like one piece and not like glued onto one another. Does give like a unique type of a vibrational type of a process. And then, like I said, the wings are then also mahogany. Got all gold hardware. And then, like I said, the wings are also mahogany. You've then obviously got a sunburst finish over there on the top. It's kind of like a mahogany stain burst, so it's not like that it is a very light or a bright burst. Actually, it looks really, really good in my opinion, and also very traditional. You've then obviously got all gold hardware, also all original. You got the original mini humbuckers, so Firebird mini humbuckers. These are not quite like a normal mini humbucker that you would like find in a, let's say, Les Paul Deluxe. These are really kind of like their own thing. They're more so lean towards a Telecaster pickup, I would say, especially there in the bridge. It's quite bright, quite bitey, gnarly, but incredibly good sounding, as we will hear so in a bit. Also then got the original gold hardware, Tune-O-Matic bridge, which is the Nashville style. So this being 1976, they had switched from the ABR1 bridge to the Nashville style bridge, which is a bit wider, so you've got more intonation room, and then just a gold, and then just your normal gold stop tailpiece. Got the original Bicentennial pickguard, including again the patriotic Firebird with the red, white and blue and the stars, and the 76 over there on its chest. through your pickup selector switch. You also got your routing underneath this guard, by the way. Then got your controls, which are pretty simple, just like on most 2 pickup Gibsons. You've got a dual volume and a dual tone control for each of your pickups. Input jack over here on the front. Moving on to the neck. That is again also mahogany, because this entire part in the middle is mahogany. Rosewood fingerboard with no binding and just dot acrylic inlays. Or actually these are real mother of pearl now that I look at it, because they do reflect as mother of pearl does. So that's actually kind of like an upgrade to the more traditional Firebird from the early days. Also got some really, yeah, the frets are actually also in a really nice shape. They have been recrowned maybe once or twice, because they are not as high as they once were, but they still play really, really well. No worries on that, but it definitely has been played. So this is definitely kind of like a player grade Gibson Firebird. Got the original nut, and over here on the back of the neck you do see a darker part. That is because it has had a neck repair way back in the 1990s, but that has been repaired really, really well. Obviously it has then been oversprayed to kind of like hide the seam or like the line of the crack, but yeah, it just feels really, really great. You do not feel anything really. And also, yeah, it is just incredibly stable. And also there on the front of the headstock you can see very little, just a little bit of damage on the finish, but that could also just be normal wear if you didn't know that it had indeed a neck repair. But just repaired incredibly well, so no worries on that part. The Firebirds are kind of like prone to neck cracks because you have quite an angle in the headstock, and then also these banjo tuners, which obviously are pretty bulky, so if it does drop even in the case, there is a risk of the headstock breaking. So it's not uncommon to see, but again, fixed really, really well. The rest of the headstock obviously features this design that is like staggered, so you kind of like got a race part in the middle, and also then a really cool trussel cover reading Gibson, obviously. Then you've got the gold banjo tuners, which are obviously very, very cool. Very unique to see on an electric guitar. Pretty much do not see that on other guitars, only really on the non-reverse Firebird. But they look super, super cool, and they also work really, really well. Last thing to mention, also comes with its original hard shell case, which then also features actually a quite raised part for the neck because of this bulky headstock. To be extra safe. Also includes an aftermarket pickup in there, which was installed in here at some point in time, but obviously it has been restored to its former glory with the original mini humbucker pickups, but you then also get that included. So yeah, really kind of like at the full package with this incredibly cool Gibson Firebird from 1976, Bicentennial. Really cool guitar. Really do not get a whole lot of non-reverse Firebirds or just regular Firebirds in general in the store. So this is really a treat to have this one in the store right now. And it's also just in a pretty good shape. Apart from the repaired neck, which obviously is a really fine repair, it is in a very good shape. Like, you got some on display wear, some minor nicks and dings here and there, and some buckle rash, but that is to be expected for a guitar that is almost 50 years old, and it is then also all original. So really cool historic Gibson Firebird. So let's hear what it sounds like. But first, if you're interested in this 1976 Gibson Bicentennial Firebird, be sure to head over to the links in the description for further details. If you enjoyed this demo, be sure to like the video and to subscribe to the channel for more cool weekly demos of cool electric guitars like these, or cool acoustics, bass guitars even, of that really cool stuff. Also be sure to like us and follow us on our socials, Instagram and Facebook. Links are also in the description. With all that being said, let's see what this 1976 Gibson Bicentennial Firebird sounds like. Going to be playing it through this Fender Pro Reverb from the late 1970s. First be playing the clean tones, and then I'll be playing the dirty tones, for which I'll be using a non-horsey clone, which obviously sounds really great, especially with this really rad electric guitar. So let's move on to that part and let's take it for a spin.